Boom! Just like that, we are live. Hey guys, and welcome to the second part of the Sunbros Grand Finals of the 2v2 tournament. Our little Discord channel, we hosted a 2v2 tournament, and this is the Grand Finals. We have in the east, we have team, who are we spectating right now? Team Vindian. Oh, I need to hide that timeline. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that in post. We can go into the mods real quick, actually, and edit that. Do you think that's important to hide? It's probably important to hide the timeline. Oh my goodness, what a mess! I'm here with Platypus Slayer, by the way.
All right, Procast.
Procast. We're gonna back out of this. We're gonna go tools, mods. That's the one we want. And while we're here, you can see the stream, right? Plat, we're all good here? Okay, beautiful. So now we go back, load, recorded games. There's the grand finals. There's game 4. And we're live. Boom. There we go. Officially, Gideon and Vindian as Team Gindian versus Azat and McCleaves or Team McZat. We're going to hop on board with Vindian, who is yellow. He's playing as Hausa right now. This is something that he has been known for. He's kind of mained Hausa. He's made a few different civs throughout the tournament, Hausa being one of them. He's sending his Explorer out. Just very typical Hausa things. Livestock market. What is unique about this team setup so far, as we hop over to Gideon, is Gideon's playing Russia. Gideon does not really... he's playing China. Oh, sorry. Azad is playing... Thank you, Plat. Yes.
But Gideon definitely does have a unique spin on China. In the last game, we saw Age 2 Flamethrower Mass. He aged up with the Porcelain Tower to get a little bit extra res. It was a loss, but after a casual hour and 9 minutes.
Yes, that was a very good game. It's been competitive so far, for sure. And that has so far been their only loss of the tournament. Or not of the tournament, but of the grand finals.
Yeah, in the previous set, so we had double elimination, and Team McZat basically dominated Vindian and Gindian. It was a 3-1 total score, but many of the games were not even close. Coming into the finals, we were kind of fearing possibility of a sweep, but Vindian and Gideon came and really strong first 2 games. So these are definitely kind of 2 different philosophies between the 2 teams. Vindian and Gideon are much more tactical. They look at the maps, they look at unit comps, they look at civ differences and bonuses and how they synergize. And they do a really good job of trying to create ways to create the most efficient combination of units and timing attacks. Whereas McZat, aka Izat and McCleaves, they are both what you would call very standard technical players. Their micro tends to be very good. Their macro tends to be on point. They play standard. They don't deviate from the meta very far. And so the matchup between these 2 teams has actually been very exciting because it's not just 2 teams that are equally skilled in the same way, but they're actually kind of asymmetrical. And as Age of Empires 3 really thrives in that asymmetrical play.
And not to mention, on top of that, after being sent down to the losers bracket by Azat and McCleaves, Team Gindian, I said that right? Yes. They worked their way through 3 or 4 different matches in order to get all the way back up to the grand finals for this matchup, and they definitely deserve every single ounce of it. They got through, I think, three different teams of very high caliber teams to get to where they are. So this they are not being taken. They should not be taken lightly, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
right? And for them to come in and take the first 2 games out of a best of 7 has absolutely made a statement.
Against the guys that that sent them there very convincingly.
Mhm.
So let's see here. We are on board with Azat right now, getting his first, or got his first card already. Distributivism. Wow. What a deck. Lots of Age 1 cards. I don't think this is... Maybe this is fairly typical for a Team Russia deck, but this is not something that I would play Russia as. Everything else is pretty normal Age 2-wise, however.
Yeah, this is definitely a much more economical build for Russia. This is kind of like an old school play. As you can see, like this allows Russia to transfer to mills, and that is something that Russia often struggles with. They can burn through hunts so fast, especially if they don't get map control, and that kind of ends the game for them. So this is definitely a player that, unlike a lot of Russians, he's willing to go deep into Age 2.
Aging up with the Quartermaster with 14 bills, fairly normal. We're going to hop over to McCleaves, see what he's got here. Emir and Palaku Code. Again, seems pretty greedy for this entire team. That seems like they're going for a greed play Age 2, which we'll see how it pays off. None of these teams have, or their opponents over here have not really been known to rush as a combined force. But we'll see how this plays out. We'll take a look.
Something to talk about too, like this map does kind of favor early game map control and aggression.
Nile Valley, yes.
The trade map routes
River
are exposed. The hunts are exposed. Most of the gold is exposed. And so games on this map tend to be very kind of quick because it'll snowball quickly out of control. Someone will take map control, and the resources on your starting plateau are very limited, and the timer starts ticking the second you get pushed back into your base.
Yes, all the hunts and coin mines, every resource you could possibly imagine is going to be in these two little deltas, I guess. I know the map is Nile River, but these two little deltas hold all the resources, so taking control of these is paramount. Looks like we have a pretty similar Hausa deck, except for Vindian, except he's got Kingslayer in it.
But if you look, he just chased off McCleaves off that trade post. He was trying to build it, and it looks like he went in and actually sniped the hero. Of course, then the second Hausa hero finished up the trade post.
Of course. And let's see here. We're going to hop over to Gideon, who is going up with China with the Porcelain Tower. Let's take a look at his deck. T-Export, Good Faith Agreements.
Look at the name.
Burninator. Oh, this sounds like a flamethrower build to me.
This would be it. Well, let's see if lightning strikes twice, right? The last game, he went for a very long time with this build. Now, it's definitely kind of a unique build. And to be honest, I think it has kind of a weak eco behind it. So they're going to have to get some work done here pretty soon, which may be hard in the face of a Russian Hausa combination.
We have dueling blockhouses up here. Here comes the shipment of 5 Cossacks. And there's some musketeers trained from the blue player that is Izat. I want to turn maps on. 2 blockhouses and another war camp. This is going to be pretty all in, it seems like. We'll see how the China player can deal with this in the face of a lot of pressure, while he's going with potentially what seems like a very delayed kind of flamethrower strategy. We'll see what happens here. He's going to get at least one villager. No, the villages. Oh my god.
Oh, there's one, but... Or nope, sorry, that's a Cossack down.
No villagers accomplished the very unsuccessful raid, except for a little bit of idle time. Another Cossack goes down.
That's China's specialty. They're quite the turtle sieve between the villages and now the blockhouse that they can get pretty easily thanks to T-Export card in Age 1.
Medicine coming in now for Izat. He's sticking with the economic Shipment's
Wow.
trying to build a fairly large eco behind this to keep up the pressure. That is a flamethrower going down potentially.
Ooh.
Raider's going to come save the day. How much health does this flamethrower have? 28.
2.
2 will not go down. Not yet anyways. Taking down the Cossacks by some pikes.
You know, that's an interesting play too. Russia sending medicine that fast. I mean, that is very greedy.
I was shocked to see that for sure.
Yeah. Clearly, they expect to boom pretty hard behind this. You would definitely not see that type of play on the ladder, but you know, Azat is a very solid player and has pretty good game sense. So that's telling us that he's feeling pretty confident in this spot. That his goal of keeping him corralled, it's working.
And yeah, now look, we've got a huge force double teaming this blockhouse, this Chinese blockhouse. Musketeers getting pumped out. Villagers still constantly being trained. 4 more Cossacks coming in for Ezat. Let's hop over to McCleave, see what he's doing. Javelin riders. All javelin riders. And he's got 1 trade post. 2 trade posts for McCleaves. 1 trade post and a native settlement for Team Gindian.
And that hurts China to lose that blockhouse. You know, and typically like where he's placing it now, the blockhouse usually is better in a forward rack supported kind of situation or defensively. I think putting it out there in hindsight was a bit of a misplay because it's unsupported. You know, there's no housing buildings next to it.
And these two forward blockhouses really kind of locked out any kind of counterplay that having that blockhouse forward did.
And you know, the pikemen, they're trading okay. You know, they're burning ruskets. They're getting work done, but
this 2 HP flamethrower is, man, it doesn't matter if it has 2 HP or 100 HP. It still burns just the same, doesn't it?
It does. And, you know, I don't know if that was the best trade for Team Exat there, but, you know, again, that's Russia's game plan is just keep them contained and starve them of res.
And that is one of the things that Russia is known for, is just being able to constantly pump out cheap units for a long period of time. A castle going up. This blockhouse is getting built by 1 villager, it looks like, so it's taking a while to go up. But yeah, early pressure is Russia's game for sure.
Well, and check out the console. It looks like German, or I think that's a German banner.
That is a German banner right there. So German consulate from Gideon here. We'll hop on board with him, see what he's sent. There's the pikeman, the flamethrower, and the castle rickshaw. And seems to be struggling for shipments a little bit. He's almost got what appears to be his 5th shipment incoming here in just a moment. Got another flamethrower out on the board while Team Exat recuperates and gathers up some more javelin riders.
And those javelin riders are, if you thought Reuters were effective, imagine if they came out in Age 2.
Oh no. 11 idols for China right now. Where are those idols? What are they doing? They're not chopping wood. They're not doing anything. That does not bode well for Team Gindian. Where are they? Are they in the... Oh, God. I don't know what happened there. Are they... They're not in the trade post.
Oh, they're still in the TC.
Are they?
Yep.
Oh, yep. There's the flag. They're still in the TC.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's not gonna end well. So we'll hop over to Vindian, see what he's doing. Still gathering mostly food, because that is what the African civs are able to do with their livestock market, is they can just stick most of their vills on food and just trade and sell for what they need.
Exactly. So it looks like, he kind of poked a little bit up north, you know.
Drawing the army out. Let's see. That seems to be a pretty calculated move. Again, you're talking about how cleanly Team Exat plays, how technical they are. That was a very good play by Team Exat to draw the army up north.
Oh, look, the vills. Oop, okay. He almost sent his vills forward. And see, look, they're almost out of hunts. Now, luckily, flamethrowers don't need food, but
But you're
still
still
on a
limited on the
timer.
amount of wood that you have. This coin mine is about halfway done. This coin mine hasn't been touched yet, thankfully. But excellent blockhouse placement because in order to get to these hunts up here, Team Gindian has to go through those blockhouses. There's very little chance that the villagers will escape through that. As we see
Here's the
another
dive.
huge engagement. This could be
And-
it right here.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of flamethrowers on the field, but it's a lot of javelin riders. It's got Polani.
A lot of strelets. Let's see here. We're gonna hop over to Azat here. Azat's well, he's only got 11 strelets left. 11 strelets, 8 musketeers. Javelin riders are starting to burn down.
Yep.
This is a pretty good hold. Fulani archers from Vindian here. I mean,
Yeah,
they're not
but
gonna
I think
win
it's
on
not
this. They're
enough.
not gonna burn down they're not gonna burn down very many buildings, if any at all.
Right, but I mean, they've totally wiped Gideon's mass. So,
That
at
is
this point,
true.
cost-effective fight. Again, you're fighting Russia and Hausa, two civs that can boom and trade cost-effectively.
Is
China,
that-
while very strong, does take time to remass.
And here's the remass from Hausa already. You see three trade posts taken by Team McZat. I don't think Gindian has the force to take on this this mass that is sieging down the castle.
No.
Villagers popping in the TP or in the town center. And a lot of the force, these two forts are going to go up on the back side of where the engagement is, which is kind of odd. I would think you would want to place those kind of up here.
I think at this point, they're just trying to hold and delay, but, I mean, Team McZat knows when they've got the advantage. The Chukunu come out, but it's too little too late.
Yeah, and again, this a few misplays by Team Gindian here, and again, it's really hard when the guy when you're facing a civ like Russia, whose thing is early pressure, and with someone who's as technical as Azat is, to be able to apply the early pressure, no one to back up, no one to mass, and no one to push. And that is what brought McLeaves and Azat to the finals, winning, 87.5% of their games.
Well, not to mention, there's a mirror going on too between McLeaves and Vindian of Hausa. So, you can't even really pivot. Like we saw their decks were very similar. And with Vindian falling behind score, with McLeaves having the trade line, this is really going to be tough for these guys to recover. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a GG pretty soon, just because, look at the score difference this early. They're corralled. China's basically out at this point. They don't have the ability to remass anytime soon.
They haven't even touched Vindian's base, which is kind of crazy, come to think of it. But yeah, you're right. There's only so many trading posts. Vindian is doing pretty decently for only having one trading post. McLeaves is 4 now. We'll take a look in post-game how the resources shape up. But Vindian's
There
down
goes a
on
village.
26 villagers. 35 villagers for McLeaves, 47 for Russia, 33 for China. The eco is just going to be unstoppable for McZat at this point. This,
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
it looks like we tried to switch the consulate too, from the Germans, but
he's got no priority, no allegiance on the consulate right now. Villagers running away. Gideon's just chopping wood probably for a town center. He's going to try and run into the back of the base and build one.
where to? The map's corralled. I mean, this is tough when you're in this position to get something done. The steps finally come out. Not finally, but the steps come out. Again, the mass from is that. I mean, another thing is you look at the score, it doesn't look that bad, but Russia's scores always is deceptive. So
That is true. This 11,000 is probably more. Is probably closer to McLeave's 15 than Vindian's 12, because these units are just so cost effective. Chopping more wood for China. I didn't see what he built. Oh, he's building villages, and there's a blockhouse and shopping for a town center. But yeah, too little, too late, too cost effective. This entire game is going to take place in Age 2, which you kind of expect from a Russia game. I'm kind of shocked that McLeaves never made it to Age 3, just to put the game even further out of reach and get his veterancy upgrades.
Well, sometimes when you're in the advantage like this, it's sometimes smarter to keep pushing, right? Like, you don't want to give these guys a chance to reboom. If anything, we know that Vindian is at a highly effective boomer. Gideon always has these crazy strategies. If you're in the winning position, you know, you're Hausa, so you've got the mass, right? If you're McLeaves, you're a Zat, you're Age 2 Russia. There's no reason to be too greedy, you know. Just finish it out. Keep putting pressure.
The villagers start dying, dropping like flies. Yeah.
And like I said, if it wasn't close to GG before, this has got to be.
And
close.
Not to say that this isn't necessarily a position that Team Gindian has been unfamiliar with. We've seen this whole tournament that Gideon will play as Mexico and revolt and have basically no eco, and Vindian will carry the game for them. But this is just an overwhelming mass at this point. Azat's now got 50 plus units, 53 units.
And if that wonder goes down,
McLeaves has, that's a lot of numbers, 22, 27, over, nearly 40 units. And then there's the age up. There's the age up to Age 3. Getting influence from the trade routes. Look how fast that gathers. That is absolutely ridiculous. 2 shipments built up. We'll see what he sends. Probably unit shipments, or probably unit shipments at this point is what I would do. Vindian's doing.
Are you seeing any chop on your replay by chance?
Yes, I don't know what is causing that. It might just be the replay file. Come and kill us. Wow, taunting their opponents from the losing position. That is something, Platt. That is something for sure.
It's a Vindianism. The classic Monty Python, Black Knight sketch, right? Let's call it a draw.
It is but a flesh wound.
Something to also point out is that all these guys were playing in the evening for them. They had already played 3 games for a grand total of 2.5 hours. So, at this point, all 4 players must have been at their absolute wits' end.
We're going to follow on board this little raid here from China, from Gideon. A little last-ditch effort to siege down a trade post? A native settlement? That is interesting to say the least.
And then McLeaves comes in with the Raiders right behind. That's to mess up. Oh, wow. That was Vindian's University. Or Palace. I can't quite.
They were so close to seeing these villagers. Villagers were able to escape. Huge mass gathering over here still, as everybody seems to be focused on this little engagement that doesn't matter. At this point, if I were McZat, we'll hop on board with McLeave, or to Azat here. He is aging to 3, so he's keeping his mass alive. I mean, this game is definitely over. Azat at this point has a higher score. He does now officially have a higher score than his teammate, and he's underscoring as Russia. So
that's a scary position. You never want to have that feeling of seeing Russia with a higher score than you. That is terrifying, because Russia is undervalued.
At this point, I mean, you don't even have to wait to age. You can right click the base. You can go in and get your upgrades while you're in base. And there's the villagers. Nope, gonna go back and try and siege down this fort still. That is a lot of villagers that escaped with their lives.
And it just shows you too, how much respect that Team Exat has now for Vindian and Gideon, is that they're not just taking the easy right-click kind of move.
I mean, after losing the first 2 games to an opponent that you handily beat earlier in the tournament, I don't blame them, to be completely honest with you, despite, Gideon as less than 8K score as China, and both players are outscoring that other Hausa player at the moment. Am I seeing that right? An immediate logistician age 4 from Izat?
Yeah.
Wow.
While sending refrigeration. I mean, this is pure greed now at this point.
Yeah, and Izat and McCleaves have access to this entire little delta over here full of resources. There's nothing that, there's villagers over there. They have most of this available to them resource-wise. Although we do see a little counter push from Vindian here. Seeing how many villagers he can get. Does he have... I think he has some griots out. Yeah, he's got 5 griots out on the field. Which, as pretty much everybody that plays this game regularly knows, is the worst unit in the game. Oh, I haven't been paying attention. The right click happened. The GG's been called. That's it. You abandon your town. Game 4 goes to Team Exat. Initial reactions, Platt.
Well, I think, and we'll get Vindian on at some point too, but I remember hearing part of it is I think there was a little bit of a strategy kind of kerfluffle. As someone who personally kerfluffled pretty hard as well on this exact map, it's tough. This is a really close quarters, quick game type of map, like we were saying earlier. And so whatever strategy that they came up with, it didn't connect. They weren't able to execute it before Izat and McCleaves were on them. And then from there, it just snowballs. This is a map that makes the winners look really good and the losers look a bit sluggish. And it's not necessarily the fault of the players. It's just the nature of this map. It's a hard map with a high risk and a high reward style play. So we saw exactly that.
And you'll see, we're going to hop over down to ages real quick. How long, no one hit age 3 until 15 minutes into the game, which is pretty unheard of at any sort of competitive level. But again, that's Russia things, and that's just kind of seems to be how this map plays out. I've been rushed, I don't know how many, countless times on this map. Because if you can contain your opponents, like you said earlier, Platt, if you can contain your opponents to their initial plateau and restrain their resources, wow, look at that. It's impossible to recover from that.
Exactly. Was this the game that me and Pete had like 80 units, like 7 minutes? Was it versus you guys?
Yes. Yeah. So you guys locked us out of our resources in the first round. The first round of this tournament. Someone picked this map. I don't know if it was us or you, but
I think it was Pete.
Yeah,
because you guys won game 1. We picked this one. We did Russia, China.
Yeah.
And we kind of did something similar to what you saw. I think it's just the way that this map is set up.
Yeah.
So good thinking on McZat and,
playing to the map's
Vindian
strengths.
And Vindian and Gideon, again, they had actually picked this map. And they had gotten to Civ counterpick. So I would assume, given how strategic these players are, that whatever they wanted to happen did not happen. And I will be curious, like I said, at some point. It's up to you, because I know Vindian's floating around. We also have a few other players. If you wanted to have them jump in between games to get insight, or do you want to wait till the end and ask some of the players and some of the other participants in the Discord?
We actually have, we have Vindian in the server right now, so we can unmute him real quick and ask him what he thinks about what his initial reactions were, and get his live reaction of the game. Vindian, if you want to unmute yourself. Vindian,
yeah.
What happened? What happened? Game 4. You guys got locked to the plateau, and what was the strategy there? What worked? What didn't work? Obviously, a lot didn't work, but.
Yes, yes. So the strategy we came up with is that there are only two maps where non-African civs can train desert outlaws. One is Congo Basin, and the second one is this Nile Valley. And we executed Congo Basin earlier in game one. So this game, we were discussing, and it was China's turn to field desert archers. That was the original strategy here, but we got miscommunicated. And of course, kudos to Mexat for putting those blockhouses right in your face. But had we, so it was the atonement card for China, and Desert Archers would become one pop units, and we would push those blockhouses, and I would come and siege with my raiders. That was the plan.
I
But
think unfortunately it might have just been a little bit too slow for the Russia push to be able to execute that. But the strategy was there, and again, Russia I
But
think
we
is
didn't
really
do that.
powerful on
We
this
got
map.
miscommunicated and picked the wrong deck, and yeah, it was tiredness hitting us pretty hard. But they were good. They were good. They executed their strats, and Hausa, the other Hausa got upper hand. They got the map control that we wanted, and we had nothing. No hunts, no mines,
Yeah,
and it was
that
over.
that's the way it goes on
Yeah.
this map. Well,
I see that the deck did not have atonement. Was that where like the miscommunication kind of started?
Yes, yes, yeah. And we never practiced. We just talked about it for 5 seconds. That's all. But we never practiced it before to have Chaina do this outlaw build. It was the same exact build the game before. Instead of flamethrowers, it would be outlaws, but with atonement, right? So since the atonement card is not in the deck, Gideon was not ready to play that.
Right.
That's what happened.
well, thanks for the insight, Vindian. We're gonna hop straight into game 5 right here.
Yeah, if it is a bit choppy, I would just suggest to restart the game before you do it.
Yeah. Good thinking. Maybe just restart it.
All right, so yeah, that's probably not a bad idea, actually. We'll restart the game real quick. We'll take a quick break and be right with you. An error occurred. I don't know what that's supposed to. That's probably where the choppiness came from. It was Steam was giving me an error message. So we'll launch right back into the game. While we wait, we're going to go ahead and update the score.
I'll be back in 10-15 minutes if that's okay.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. 2-2. We are launching the game right now. If you would just give us a little bit of grace while we get everything back up and running.
Yeah, that is actually a pretty common complaint about Age of Empires 3 is that, the Age of Empires 2 crew has quite the wonderful, capture age integrated now into it, which was an independent mod that eventually got used. And so, we're pretty archaic on this side of the game, which is definitely a challenge, I think, to promoting Age of Empires 3. It would be nice if we had a more engaging and more stable tool for
I was kind of shocked when DE got released that they didn't modify a little bit more with like the replays and the UI. And it seems pretty archaic still, which I was kind of shocked to see.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a downer. Now, I think they're aware of it. It's a very commonly requested feature. I would imagine that given how old the game is and given their focus and, we're lucky probably just to have stuff being released still. So
and new civs on the way. All right.
Yeah.
Hopping into game 5. The map is Panama, selected by Team Gindian. We have Haudenosaunee and Russia again.
Do you want to restart it in Discord real fast?
Yeah, did the stream end? The stream ended. Oh, I'm sorry. Share your screen. Professional stream right here, boys. I got to get my caster access to actually see the game here. There we go. Are we good? I think we're good. So let's see here. Russia and Haudenosaunee, like I said, by McCleaves and Azat, counterpicked by Vindian with Inca and Ethiopia.
Yeah, so let's see here. So with the 2 Civ picks, Panama is quite a hybrid map. You've got 2 waters. You've got one in the north, one in the south. And what's kind of a unique feature is that there's 3 treasure ships, which are actually coin mines that gather faster
Those are
than a
up
normal coin
here.
mine.
Is there 3 or is there only 2? And
There's
right
one on each
there.
coast, and there's one in the center.
Oh, there is one in the center. That is right. There's the 3rd one. Turn Fog of War back on for the start
and it
of
looks
the
like
game.
Vindian opens up with a Tambo. That's Inca's unique trade post. It's a little bit tanky. It has an attack, but what's really unique is it can take shipments. This is very important in aggressive strategies to have like basically a forward base that you can launch stuff from.
And Vindian has a deck specifically labeled Panama, so this is definitely something that they've prepared for. Exotic hardwoods, fish market, llama lifestyle, potential to go water, not necessarily required, but the potential is definitely there. Man, you see if you take the map off, just look how many fish are everywhere. If you wanted to water boom, then this would be definitely a map to do it.
Well, and you know, this is a map with very strong natives. You've got the Zapotecs, Caribs, and I think Mayans are the 3 that can spawn on this map. The Zapotecs are like a discount Jaguar Prowl Knight, very powerful. The Mayans have the Hulkin Javeniers, which are kind of like muskets. So Incas are a very good pick if you're doing a native rush on this map. It's close quarters, it's kind of quick. And you know, Inca already get a lot of bonuses to their natives, and so you have a musket and like a rod with multipliers versus heavy infantry. Oh, and it looks like Ethiopia. We see Shifta, so we're probably seeing Desert Archers.
Desert Archers. So in talking with Gideon and just interacting with him in the server, he's a very numbers-oriented dude. And he has discovered that Desert Archers are, en masse, some of the most powerful units in the game. So if you can gather those, it's kind of like the army of Ruskets. You could just overwhelm your opponent with one type of unit, and it doesn't matter what they have. It just melts everything.
You know, and I've used the example for the Age of Empires 2 players. It's like the longbow death ball, where after a certain critical mass is hit, it's very difficult because the range is so long. You just take water stuff.
Water stuff. So McLeaves is telegraphed what he wants to do with his deck name, even though his opponents can't see that. Again, with the water dance, exotic hardwoods, fish market. It's a water deck.
And you know, Haudenosaunee are very good on water if they can get a water boom going, especially with that ceremony. It will be interesting to see the Chincha rafts, which are also very good, tangled with the boats. Because we have 2 very strong H2 water civs. Even though Inca may not intuitively seem like a water civ, those Chincha rafts are very powerful.
Having that little
And
bug
then
that
Russia-
still exists. Russia, he picked the same deck that he picked in the last game. So this is, I believe, Azat's 2nd time playing Russia. So you can only play a Civ 3 times in this tournament. In this tournament format. Idle Explorer there.
Well, and you know, typically Russia actually really likes this map too, because you can kind of, you know, create map control in the middle. You can pressure your opponent, and you can go to water. And Russia does very good on water in like the later ages because it helps sustain the boom, and it helps their very food-intensive units continue production. So
interesting call to go for the sheep and the homestead wagon by Russia. We'll see. I'm guessing he's going to build a livestock market, but that might signal some sort of semi-fast fortress, allow the sheep to fatten. I know that's what some Sweden players are starting to do recently, is send that card as well as 3 villagers just to get a semi-fast fortress going. And you just have that instant pop of food just kind of sitting in your base.
Exactly. Livestock are high risk, high reward type of play. I mean, they're one of the best food shipments if you can wait. So interesting. It looks like Inca's saving 2 shipments.
Has not sent him yet. Very good scouting done by Team Gindian. American allies. So this is going to be a native rush, it would appear.
Yep.
Does that sound about right, Platt?
Inca have one of the best native rushes in the game. You're on a map that supports a very strong native rush. When in Rome.
Yeah, look at that. Tambo going up on the... He's got both of these. He's got the Tambos on his opponent's side of the map.
So I have seen this on the ladder in 1v1s actually a few times, and it's a very powerful move. If you are playing on the ladder and it's Panama, you need to be aware of the native rush, especially against civs that have strong native rushes. Because of that American ally card, he's basically getting an additional shipment. So with those two Tambos taking over a settlement each, when he ships his native treaties, he'll get 3 shipments at once.
So you can put a mountain monastery on the treasure ship.
Yep.
That is that is news to me. That's kind of cool. I mean, it's coin mine, so I don't see why not. Let's see here. Ethiopia has not shipped a Big Benny yet. Still holding that shipment. There we go. And it's a Tabot, Mountain Monastery's additional coin. 1,000 coin to the inventory.
Okay, so now I'm seeing part of his strategy. So remember how I said the boat gathers faster?
Yes. So
He puts
that
1,000
adds...
coin on it. Yeah, he'll get a quicker 1,000 coin.
Gathering coin at 0.9 a second. And then that will be 2,500 coin. An additional 2,500 coin on top of that. Another mountain monastery on top. So that'll be 35. This card's going to show up right as this gets constructed, isn't it? Almost precisely. So that's clever. And here's the rush. Vindian. We're going to hop on board with Vindian. He's got the dock now. They are being very aggressive with this strat. Yeah. 3,500 coin. Excellently timed.
All right, here comes some Kanya horsemen. Kind of raiding, poking around, probably see what's going on.
And yeah, this is... Oh, we're on board with... Oh, no, that's... Okay, so that's just a chat bug. Good old-fashioned Age of Empires chat bug. We're not going to worry about that too much. I'm surprised we're not seeing a little bit more early pressure from Team Gindian.
Whatever's going on, I don't see anything from Gindian, so I would assume that this is to hold any sort of early pressure or aggression from McCleaves and Izat. They know McCleaves is probably on water because he loves his water boom. Izat's deck is also very boomy, so they've got all this. Oh, the livestock pen. Yep. So they got this huge mass, and they just kind of have to hold. We know we're probably seeing desert archers, but they do take a while to mass. So, I guess all Vindian has to do right now is hold.
I don't know where these guys are going up to. Probably just to explore, see if you can find a forward base. They may end up on their way over here to siege that down once they see it. And he hasn't eaten any of these sheep yet. These sheep are just slowly fattening. And the Strelet army is growing inside of McCleaves' base, or inside of the Russian base. Still no pressure. They're going to see that. Are they going to siege it? Nope. They are on their way probably to... Oh, no. There we go. I was about to say maybe they're on their way to get some raids done, but they're going to siege that down. Probably a pretty good call.
Looks like we've got 2 defensive blockhouses, so both teams are kind of settled in for the long haul, it looks like.
Well, if Team Exat doesn't apply some pressure, and we're still getting a little bit of visual lag, I'm not sure what that's about. They're going to be locked out of resources in the same fashion that they did to Team Exat in the last game, running away from this Tambo as the force from Gindian comes to try and fend off.
Oh, there goes his war chief, though. That is a big blow for Haudenosaunee because without it, they don't get the 10% HP buff.
Yeah, that is big. That being
know,
said,
they
this mass
impacted-
is getting to be critical. 2 blockhouses for Azat here, going to be training out, probably swapping over to, we'll hop on board with him real quick. Still going very heavy on food and wood. I think he's massing Strelets. That would appear to be the case, is just nothing but Strelets. There's 20 more on the way. Does he have Boyars in this deck? He does, has not sent it yet. Again, there's Medicine. An early Medicine, Azad is going very greedy still. Here we go. Here we go. Now we get to see some action. Almost 10 minutes into the game, and we have our first major battle. You're going to be sieging down this war hut. They'll see the dock. The Chincharaffs coming in. See how bad they mess up the Ruskets. And, wow, Azad is spamming that Strelet button, is he not?
Nope. That's what Russian players love to do. You know, and it's good they've got hand cav, but it looks like the hand cav kind of got poked out. Oh, that might have been a bit of a mistake just because those units, most of them can deal and have multipliers against cav. Yes, he
Zapotec
definitely
Lightning Warrior, the Hulkin Javelineers, and here's the Desert Archers in mass to deal with these
here we go.
Strelets.
So it looks like he goes and dives on
Oh
the bill.
no, that's a lot of villagers that are about to go down, aren't there?
Yeah, that's... You know, but this fight's about even right now. It's hard to tell who's winning, but those Desert Archers are doing pretty good. No, half the Strelets are kind of out of the fight.
Has he sent? Nope, still not sent Boyars. He's still going greedy. Land grab coming in. Wow. Azad is
Kanya
confident.
Yep, and now you got Kanya jumping the Desert Archers. This is looking really good for Team Exat. But, you know, they're starting to lose. You know, it looks like the Haudenosaunee are about cleaned up.
More Strelets coming in for backup. Oh, that was a little bit farther than I wanted to go. Strelets are starting to kite right now, so the mass has been pretty cleaned up. We'll see the push here. After the Haudenosaunee wipe, I think this is the time where you want to push in to the opponent's base and see if you can deal a little bit of damage. The Vindians lost a war hut, and that's really about it from the engagement, despite, you know, losing a significant number of troops. What are we on board with scores? McCleave's Team Mixad is still ahead in score, about 4K, but I kind of like Team Gindian's position here a little bit more.
Well, they've got that Desert Archer Death Ball going, and those things, I mean, they do, what, 20 damage base at 22 range, 24 range?
Oh,
even
sorry, I
Strelets-
was completely wrong. Vindian and Gideon are ahead 4K, so this is definitely favoring Team Gindian
Looks
right
like
now.
that War Hut's going to get rebuilt.
Yep, it's going up. I'm curious to check the post game to see how many villagers they lost. Let's do a stock take, as that's at 41, McCleave's at 48. Ooh, Inca at 40. So the villager lead does favor Team Mixat over here, and the eco lead behind it, which may be why Team Gindian is not pushing, just because Gideon is so short on villagers right now. Only 24, spending all his res, not even going to age up anytime soon. Spending all his res on these Desert Archers.
Yeah, you know, Ethiopia in particular doesn't have the most robust eco till the very late game. But it does have many shipments thanks to the Big Benny and cattle market. So it's a bit deceiving. Their villagers may be less, but they still have a lot of ways to gain resources and continue to fight. Kind of like how Ottomans can be in the early game.
Oh, those Desert Archers are doing work. A little bit of Desert Archer mass against some Strelets here. That is a lot of Strelets, so that's probably going to be too many Strelets to deal with.
Here comes the Kanya.
Let's turn this on. Yep, Kanya Horseman coming in to try and take care of these Desert Archers. Zapotec Lightning Warrior's not able to chase him off right now. The Kanya Horsemen get onto the Desert Archers. That is not good.
No.
They were pushed back a little bit.
Well, and on top of it, the mass, Vindian's mass, is just getting slaughtered by that Straylet horde.
Yeah, the Straylet Deathball, despite being down in score, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like we said last game, the Russia underscores and these Strelets they still don't even have Boyars yet. Getting pumped out 20 at a time is really tough to compete with, no matter what.
Kind of shocked he hasn't sent it, because this would have definitely been the good fight.
There it is.
Yeah, that's a little too late, I think. That would have helped them wipe earlier.
Potentially, we'll see what the Conquistadors. Yeah, Boyars here is kind of the nail in the coffin, I would think. Because he's lost. We'll check the post game. He's lost a lot of units, despite being pumping Strelets out 20 at a time. If he had Boyars, this mass is probably 50% as big as it is, or 150% as big as, it could have been.
Well, and it looks like Vindian's on top now. He's on water in the north, so he's getting extra resources. He's uncontested there, so he's got a safe boom.
Haudenosaunee is uncontested to the south, so we're about even there, it seems like.
But yeah, that Desert Archer mass, I mean, it's slaughtering everything, and normally you would think Straylets would win the skirm fight because Straylets are garbage, they don't care. They're very cost-effective units, but I don't know. It seems like the Desert Archers are able to clean up. Yep, it was Zat's call. He said, "Get back."
Yeah, these Desert Archers, more health, more range.
Well, that range part is huge. I mean,
Yes.
the 14 range means the Desert Archer can get almost 2 shots in before the Straylets can get their shot. The Straylets can't kite. It allows them to dictate the pace of fights. It allows them to sit still, which is, Archer animations tend to not be able to kite as good. They tend to work better when they're able to sit still because they're able to wind and shoot more, whereas, a skirm with a rifle can run in, shoot, and then run out. So
I'm
the ideal
shocked
situation.
to see these villagers go up this far north. There's plenty of coin mines on Gindian's side of the map, but they are being very aggressive, going for these wrecked treasure ships. That could be a make or break type thing. If Team McZat were to see this, maybe some Kanya horsemen come up here, that could be devastating.
They're close. They're on the hunt. They can smell it.
Yeah, they're looking for coin. They're definitely out here looking for something. That's for sure.
Oh, but they're called back to the base because once again the death ball comes knocking on their door.
I mean, Zat's doing an excellent job of keeping good micro, just pumping out a mass of units. These have Boyars now. They're up to 85 health.
Well, now the Kanya are getting jumped by the Conquistadors. So. Oh, and look, Vindian, go look in the south. I think Vindian just pushed McCleave's off water.
To the south. Oh my goodness. We've got some canoes just hanging out. Yeah, McCleave's is completely off water. Wow.
And what I'm guessing is in the middle of all that chaos, those Chincha rafts came and probably pushed him right off water.
Those Chincha rafts, I think, have actually just been chilling there since this first engagement up here. Big engagement. Let's see if the Strelets can hold off these Desert Archers. It is looking worse and worse. 5K score difference between the teams now. Worse and worse for Team McZat here. Again, they've kind of been locked out of their resources. If we turn on Fog of War, they are locked into a very narrow arc of line of sight. These Kanya horsemen aren't able to get anywhere close to the Desert Archers.
And Kanya do not scale very well. They're not a great cav unit. They're so expensive. That 75 wood, is equivalent to about 100 gold, but the Haudenosaunee eco is not set up for mass Kanya production. The shipments can be great. Kanya are viable units, but in this kind of protracted firefight, you want something, like you want a Hussar. You want something that can tank. Or a Lancer would be even better. Something with range resist.
How does Russia and how does Team Exact get back into this? Actually, you know what? We've got another commentator here. We got Dunami here. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. We haven't really talked that much. If you want to unmute yourself, tell us what your thoughts are on this game right now. Tell us how Mexat can or cannot get back into this game. Is he going to unmute himself? I give you permission to talk.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I think the way for EZ is basically to go H3 and go Falconets, because maybe Kazakhs can do something, but I don't know who said before, that this is a longbow mass. You cannot get anywhere near close that without half of your army dying. So essentially what you need is really strong artillery, you know, just blast them away with sheer force. But I think EZ just shipped 700 coins, so maybe he had this in mind, but we'll see if he has time to do so.
Yep, there's a coin sitting on the ground right there. Oh, the conquistadors are coming in on the villager mass. The desert archers are doing work. Although this desert archer mass doesn't really have much, like this is a significant mass of strelets right here. I think
Now you're seeing that range, the difference, you know, and like Buffalo was saying, I totally agree with the cannons, because the cannons neutralize the range. You know, if you can't outsnipe these units, nullify their strength, take away their range, and force the fights to come to you. And I think that would be huge. And it looks like Gideon is actually the first to make it to H3. It looks like on the right side we've got some canoes versus the Chincha rafts. Looks like McCleaves has the water ceremony. That's a unique ceremony to Haudenosaunee that boosts. It's kind of like the combat damage one that all natives have access to, but it's specifically on water, and it helps the Haudenosaunee have one of the most cost-effective navies. And he's pushed Vindian back, but you know, meanwhile, Vindian's in the north uncontested, and in the middle of this complicated fight where he has to spend 75 wood for a Kanya, he also has to macro now for a navy. And so Haudenosaunee are not a civ that can do it all, so this is probably putting a lot of strain on him.
these conquistadors have just been doing work. I don't think this mass has really decreased the entire game. I don't think there's really a not, especially now that they're veteran. I don't think Mexat has an answer to these conquistadors. On top of this, those are villagers. I thought that was a massive unit that was just hanging out up there.
And they're getting pushed back in their base. Also, I see some blowgunners in there. Blowgunners have a multiplier versus all infantry, so you know, again, the Strelets are a great unit, but they can't beat everything. And they are just pushed back. There's Kanye in the back line. They're trying to do as much work as they can, but you know, what do you do when there's this many longbows? Or sorry, not longbows, but desert archer bows.
And again, I mean, that seems to be the name of the game in these 2v2 is that has hit age 3, so we might see the Falconets coming out right now. Dunami, it's like they were listening to you. Veteran Strelets coming out first. He actually does not have a shipment. He's on 66 villagers, which is not terrible. McCleaves also aging behind this.
Pretty incredible for Russia.
This could be, if they can hold a little bit longer, Team Mexat may be able to turn this around, but the mass is just slowly diminishing. That age up cost a lot of Strelets for Izat that he could have trained.
Well, and McCleaves is he's not able to get a critical mass of Cav. Yeah, probably having to defend water, stressed what eco that he had.
He's taken back a little bit of the water, but
oh, more Chincharaffs.
yeah, this is looking worse and worse. I think it was a bad idea for both of them to age together. I think maybe you have McCleaves go age 3 first, or yeah, you have McCleaves go age 3 first, build a mass to be able to support Azat's
boy.
age behind it.
Got the big boy mortar out in the field, and per tradition, it just dies.
It just
okay.
insta dies. Sounds about right.
But no, I think the Falconets, there's no foundry either, so Russia can't even mass cannons. McCleaves is not able to
Jeez.
offer a counter unit to that archer, so at this point, it's looking grim. I'd be shocked if we didn't see a GG here pretty soon again, because although the last game they fought it out for an additional almost 5-10 minutes, so
Azat is starting to bleed villagers. He's down under 60 now. Gideon still only at 36 villagers. Again, spending all his resources on these desert archers. And there it is. GG being called. Team Gindian is up 3-2 in this best of 7. They have to win one more game only to claim the Jackie Moon Discord title. Let's take a look here. Is that, yeah, resources. Not a terrible showing from Azat and McLeese, actually, in terms of economy. But the militarily, they just kind of got overwhelmed.
337 to 108. That is the power of the Desert Archer.
And most of those were 400 or 393 strelets. As that goes full strelets here. And
Check the economy real quick.
Yeah, let's go over to economy. Let's see what there is to say. See.
About the price of the units. Okay, so I think it's bugged for Azat because no way he spent that much on Strelets. But if you can see that Gideon spent absolutely nothing on units. And he's one of the one with almost the best KD.
Yeah,
That's the power of the Desert Archer right there.
Exactly. And, you know, countering this unit, you have to have a plan. I think if you are playing any sort of 2v2 in a competitive environment against especially the African civs, because they could always bring this unit, you got to keep this in mind, because if this Desert Archer spirals out of control, there's very little counterplay, and you have a very limited window. You know, whether it's getting to age 3, building a bunch of falconets and pushing, whether it's just rushing it down before it ever has a chance. You know, again, I think civs that have calves like the Step Rider or the Lancer, they have some early game opportunities. But I mean, we saw Gideon didn't have the resources gathered or the economy anyone else did, and yet who was the main killing machine?
It was definitely those Desert Archers. Let's see, villager count. Yeah, he's never made more than, I mean, he lost a few in those raids here. Military unit count. Spent all his res on units. And yeah, look at that.
You can see the pattern within the whole tournament of Vindian booming his heart out and Gideon being really the one that, you know, is kiting back, fighting, being annoying in general.
You know, despite having 2/3 the villagers, Gideon did a very good job
Let's look at his
keeping
coin
up
graph.
with. Yes, oh my goodness. Ha! Oh, you can see, let's see, that is one of the treasures, 53. That's the treasure ship right there. That's one of them. This is another treasure ship. This is the first treasure ship. I think he ended up taking all 3 treasure ships en route to this victory.
I believe so. And this was, you know, again, they had practiced and kind of thought about it. I don't know, because I don't see Vindian in the chat. Maybe someone can ping him to give some of his insight into it. But this was, you know, we know about the native rush on Panama. Very powerful unit. And most of his army comp was that and some Chimus mixed in. But it was the gold mine capacity which allowed Gideon to mass this huge amount of Desert Archers, despite having the, on paper, inferior eco, inferior unit count, inferior villager count. So this is an example of like some of these strategies in Age of Empires 3 that it's not as cut and dry as it is in other RTSs, where it's, you know, everybody kind of has to do the same thing. This is that asymmetry out in effect. And by, researching just kind of a one-off map, these guys were able to take a pretty convincing loss and then respond with a very convincing victory.
And you have to take a look at military unit count, because Vindian basically did nothing but make native units. So this military, and we go to team here.
Wow, that's a cliff.
Yeah, and that is
But
a whole
Vindian
bunch of
didn't lose his
Strelets.
mass. To Vindian's, he never loses his mass, and he does his job, which is be the anvil to the hammer of the desert archers of Gideon.
Very well played. Again, very tactical, like we mentioned at the beginning of the stream. Very tactical from Team Gindian. Two completely different play styles. Technical from Exat and tactical from Gindian.
Vindian's here. What's up, Vindian? What's your insight or your thoughts about this map?
Gotta unmute him real quick.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay,
we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Yeah. So after losing the previous game, we just wanted to turn it around, and this map I had to what's the word? C word.
Contain?
No. I mean confess. I'm confessing here. We definitely played it to the map. We thought this is the only map. Nobody played it in the tournament still, and we were wondering what civs to play. And I realized that Inca was a good civ, and it has treasure ships. So we did everything that we planned, contained them, and also gathered only from those high gathering, and also take control of seas, etc. So yeah, I played.
You did a very good job. Like you said, containing the water boom from McCleaves. Without that, I am not sure the game goes as well for you as it did. Because Haudenosaunee, like Platt was saying earlier, is a very powerful water civ. Okay.
Wait, real fast, I was going to say too, like when you guys are, how are you feeling at this point? Because you're one game away from closing out the series. You're going to get map picked and counter picked. Like, what was going through like you and Giddy? Like, what was the conversation you two had before we went to Game 6?
So we had a backup plan. Backup plan was Mexico doing their trade monopoly. That was our ace card still in the. So the previous game was a hit or a miss, but it was a hit luckily. So we thought, okay, this game either win or lose, we'll just stay. Whatever happens, we'll take it to the 7th game, and then we can play our go-to strat of using trade monopoly and getting a victory faster. So that was our thought plan, and just go with the flow here.
So game
this
6.
was kind of like a comfort pick. Oh, sorry, but so this was like a comfort map or a pick. You guys were like, let's pick civs that we know, that we like. Worst case scenario, we lose and we go to our next strategy. Best case, we close it out. And, whatever strategy they have, you guys are trying to play civs that so you can adapt the best with.
So game 6, Team Exat picks Mongolia. A livestock map with trade posts, 4 of them to the north. Livestock, lots of livestock throughout the map. You can see on these little white pings, there's yaks absolutely everywhere on this map. So Gideon and Vindian going with his main, going with Hausa. Gideon going with Ethiopia, another strong pick. Probably with ideas to do the same strat that they did last time because it worked. The counter pick coming out is that with Russia and McCleaves as China. So this will be Zat's last game as Russia. Cannot pick Russia for a potential Game 7.
Something to think about too before we launch into it. So this is a map where 3 of the 4 civs are benefited greatly by the livestock. And so what China fattens them at their villages. And we know that with double African civs on the right side here, or is that left side? Sorry, on the left side here, can use them at their livestock market. So this and get influence from it, and eat them as well. So this is definitely a map where the early game, whoever gains the quicker advantage, is going to have a boost in their economy, which can be used to overpower the opponent. Another interesting thing about this map is the placement of the trade posts. Now we know that Hausa in particular loves to cover the map in trade posts, but they're far away. And with two bases kind of close to each other, it's kind of a risk, right? Because you can expect early aggression from across the map, right in your face early on.
These two colonies are very close to each other to start. You can almost fit all the way zoomed out them both on one screen. Yep. There we go.
So you have to kind of balance early aggression and defense versus a greed up north, and then to finally, you get a Mongol scout from a starting Guardian treasure near your base. So that also kind of mixes things up. So this is a map that is absolutely fun. It can be very swingy because of the livestock fattening and then big slaughters for food, boosting the eco. And we should expect a pretty dynamic game here.
One more thing to mention before we get started on this replay. I will say this is a very large map, very prone to raiding. Every time we play this map, it seems like someone gets raided out of nowhere in the middle of a big fight. So that is going to be one thing to look out for as we watch Game 6 get started. All right, let's hop on board with Vindian and see how everything goes. He's going to take his Mongol scout probably immediately. Yep. Livestock market going up. Sounds about right. Ethiopia taking the scout treasure. Livestock market going up. Very, very typical standard things. Nothing we haven't expected yet. Of course, we're only 20 seconds into the game.
Right. This is a game with its asymmetrical, but the openings are pretty standard for
openings
most
are pretty standard. Yep, that is a pretty good 40 wood treasure for the Chinese player right
That's
off
huge.
the bat.
That lets him get the second village or a TP out sooner. That lets him turn around and start macroing towards H2. China's kind of a slower civ, so getting wood treasures early on allow you to kind of overcome that slowness.
Immediately, this Mongol scout for Azat going and finding out where all the trade posts are. And the orange Mongol scout going to scout out the enemy, which is going to see exactly what we've seen. Livestock market in base and granary going up. Very typical for the African civs. We'll hop over to McCleave's. I'm guessing no decks have been picked yet. Vindian does pick his deck H3. Don't know exactly what that means. But is this Kingslayer? This is the deck he picked in Game 4, I believe, if I am not mistaken.
So kind of based on what he said going into this, this is his comfort deck. This is something he enjoys playing, he's comfortable with, and we should expect to see a less focused, more flexible deck.
That's another wood treasure for Russia that he got right there. That's big. Two very good wood treasures for Team Mixat in the early games. First card's probably going to be Amir's, yes.
Now, something to keep an eye on, too, around those livestock pens is the yaks as they start rolling in. Because, again, that's going to let you know which team is going to have the bigger power boost. So far, I mean, that's what, 6 yaks around Gideon there?
He has 8 yaks in total.
Boy.
Wow, that is huge. That is a power swing for sure. That's going to propel his eco for quite some time. We're going to hop over to Vindian.
China?
Vindian has 6 yaks.
So
and
14.
McCleave's over as China. I don't see any. Do you see any yaks?
Wow. No, and just to give you an idea, 400 food per yak when it's fully fat.
He's got 2.
Wow.
I don't know
That's
if
a
that
difference.
is all the yaks on the map. Let's see if we can turn Fog of War off. I don't. Do you see any other white dots? I don't see any other white dots on the map.
I don't either.
16 yaks total on the map, all
that's
but 2
4,000
of
food.
which go.
That's a Imperial Age up. That's to advance to the Imperial Age food cost advantage now for Gideon and Vindian. That is absolutely bonkers. And if I remember correctly, they get influence trickled the entire time while it fattens.
I think you're right. Influence is a huge way in how these civs operate too. So having that trickle, they already gather it incredibly fast, but having, 14 yaks, the influence from that, the food from that, and the ability to trade that in for natural resources is beyond critical for this engagement.
Yeah, so McCleaves and Izat, they're gonna have to be really smart because these African civs they've got the advantage.
Yeah, is that again picking the same deck that he's picked in the last few games, going with distributivism? Probably follows with a sheep and homestead wagon again. I'm curious to see what he does. Platt, you're the China main. Let's take a look at this deck right here.
So this looks like a very standard China deck, 1v1 pressured. So I would assume that McCleaves is expecting some early pressure. He's got the 2 villages out. He will probably send... Did he send the consulate first? Well, that's a bit different. Typically, with the 2 villages, you send the villager card first because you get a villager for every village that you have in a town center. So you get a 3 villager shipment in essence. I have seen people try to do a 4 or 5 villager shipment. Maybe he's going to chop one out and send it in transition, but still, that does slow down your ecos ever so slightly, which can make a huge difference in these type of maps, where again, you can expect early pressure.
That's exactly what we're going to see, is that building a forward blockhouse. That is actually probably as close to the town center as he's able to build it. Summer Palace going up, 1 shipment in queue.
So it looks like they were trying to get a blockhouse out first. So McCleaves is kind of sacrificing eco a bit to get a blockhouse. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like eco is better in this kind of scenario, but at the same time, without a trade post, your shipments are a bit slow, which is one of China's strengths. So I think there's merit to this.
So let's see. Hausa, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Hausa is the... Oh my god, I don't know why it keeps jumping over there. Hausa's the civ that's in front. It is. And if you're going to rush any of the African civs, it should be Hausa. So they got kind of lucky with the spawns of these of the players, because my guess is they want to put as much early pressure in Hausa's face as possible, as indeed 5 musketeers are going to probably snipe one of these villagers.
Yep.
Probably
Again,
snipe.
we're talking about the market. Look, Houses already took in 2, and they're building a 3rd trade post.
Yeah, that's incredible. And they can just keep selling. And yep, here's the Cossacks coming in. We're gonna hop on board with Izat, see what his eco is like. Not gathering any wood at all, and 2 villagers on coin. He's going musketeer heavy for Cossacks coming out as well. Red Sea wagons for Gideon.
But this is a good play when you fight against the African civs in particular, because they can do all these crazy booms and they get all these free wagons and free res. It's almost like playing against British sometimes. All those res in the world don't mean anything if your entire economy is idle and your production buildings are burning.
That's very true. Ethiopia is coming out with some watchtowers to try and protect the eco. That's probably a pretty good play.
If it's a watchtower, that means desert archers are on their way.
That is also true.
Oh, here comes the China, though. It looks like
Gascania is actually the shipment from Gideon.
Okay. That's a good shipment in the face of all these steps and Cossacks.
He is gathering. Let's see. He doesn't have the pop space for it right now, but with a couple houses, with 1 house, he can send that Desert Archer shipment, and that could spell danger for Team Exat. despite all that, they are still applying pressure. Fulani archers looking like they're going to go down to some step riders.
Step and Cossack.
And Vindian's got 13 villagers, 8 of which are idle. This is not looking good for Vindian. And Vindian's been the powerhouse of this entire of Team Gindian for the entire series. So if you knock out this powerhouse, with the exception of the last game, of course, where Desert Archers carried the storm, I don't know what they can do.
The flamethrower's out. Oh, it's got to feel good after getting flamethrowered so hard in Game 3. So that was Duck Squad, I would bet. So it looks like China's going all... and for those that don't know, Duck Squad is 8 Chukunu and a flamethrower for 500 food.
That is Duck Squad indeed. He's, I imagine, going to keep sending. Here's another shipment. What's he going to send here? Pikemen?
Bills. Interesting.
Oh, he hasn't.
Economies. Yeah, this is
He's on 21 bills.
I suppose he's trying to trade it out later. Early pressure first.
13,
then build some villages
18,
later.
23. We have a villager advantage to Team McZat.
But look at that mass, though. They've, they probably felt like they've done a lot of damage, but they haven't. Those livestock markets are still churning.
That's still 9 yaks and 3 Sangha
The Shotel
cattle.
warriors are out. And they're gonna murder those steps, because steps are basically garbage. You can say anything that's not a building or a skirm. The flamethrower goes down. The ruskets they're trying to get work done, but man,
I think that's the shipment. Nope, that is not the shipment of
that was
ruskets.
absolutely clutch by Gindian. So now Gindian, because they just cleaned China's mass up.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good hold. Let's see here. We're going to go back over to Vindian, who is still only on 14 villagers, only 3 of which are gathering right now. But there's the safety bell being announced. A new shipment coming in. And Azat and McCleaves are getting chased away. I think you had a pretty good point there. McCleaves' eco, despite having a villager lead, his eco is not what it needs to be.
And interesting, he's decided to go, or at least mix in these batches of Old Han. Don't really like Old Han in this situation. I feel like the ruskets do enough. Shotel warriors and raiders are not exactly the heaviest of cav.
And that's the entire trade line as well. Sorry to cut you off, but the entire trade line has been taken by Vindian.
Okay, and now he's doing the Mongol banner. Interesting. So that's steps and Keshiks. Keshiks are a dragoon, and they're not very good, especially if he doesn't have Mongol Scourge in the deck.
So we're gonna hop over to Team McZat's line of sight here. Got some Ekon they got to deal with, which they're going to deal with pretty handily. Yeah, running away from the Chukunus and the Strelets. They're going to see this. Ooh, if they can get this fort down. Oh, it's going to go up, isn't it? They don't have the siege for that. And here come
pikes, but yeah, the pikes are busy getting shot. And it looks like... Ooh, here we come. Yeah, they're just not able to push into this anymore.
They've lost all their siege. They've lost the flamethrowers. And they are losing in score, too. Despite, despite the early pressure, despite being up in villagers for a while. Let's see, are they still up 22, 32, 26, 16? They're still up in villagers, so hypothetically they should have an eco advantage, but you're just not seeing it on the battlefield right now.
Well, it's the cattle. That's the power of the African Civ. Especially when you're given 4,000 free food worth of cattle.
14 cattle for free just from exploring the map.
You've got the trade line on top of it.
And remember, this was McZat's map pick. They picked Mongolia and then only were able to get 2 cattle or 2 yaks from the map pick that was their selection.
Well, and you got to be quick about it. You know, as someone who threw their final game 5, or not final, but a game 4 on this map, you know, you sometimes not necessarily get lazy, but you know, you get other things. You see these really great treasures, you get distracted. You really should be spending the first minute of the game just scouting and gathering up all those cattle, because a 40 wood treasure is nice, but 4,000 food sounds a lot better to me.
Yeah. Yes, it does. It takes a little bit longer to get that 4,000 food than it does that 40 wood, but man, is it worth it? And especially as yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, sorry. Is that the other outlaw unit, the one that switches stances? That he's got, or is that Gaskinia?
Desert Warriors are the ones that switch stances, I believe. So these ones right now have 20% range resist,
They can switch it to melee.
161 health, and yes, with the press of a button, it goes to, I believe it is still 20% melee. And you can't, it's hard to tell too. It is hard to tell what their stances do, especially in the heat of battle. You don't know if it's, you almost have to click on them to see if it's ranged or melee resist.
It's not very intuitive. One of the biggest complaints about the African Civ DLC, which for the most part has been positively received, is these kind of goofy you know, there's a lot of units that switch stances and it's not very apparent. On a positive, it looks like the new Knights of the Mediterranean, that they have made very distinct stances for the units that do stuff like this. So
we should
yeah,
probably expect to see that in the future too, an update to the animations for Desert Warriors.
All right, big fight here. But you know, these outlaws, they're pop efficient. You're fighting under a watchtower, a fort, and a town center. And it looks like China's getting kind of cleaned up. I mean, they just, again, those Keshigs are really
They tried to
awful.
dive on those villagers, and it just was not worth it. Now these raiders are going to hit the Chukonu, and yes, they have to go back. This is really not looking good. It's looking worse and worse.
Oh, and the archers are on the field just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Oh, the longbows, they're here.
Right? Desert longbows.
And oh, that's even worse. This is pre-patch, so the Sudanese Dervish are still pretty powerhouse units.
Yep, they do not have any negative multipliers versus skirms. These outlaws do seem a bit busted, to be honest.
McCleaves, you were reading our mind.
Yeah, we do not disagree. But you know, again, they're also taking bad fights. You can't just blame the units on this one. The rush,
No.
rush was busted too. The band.
I don't know quite about that one, but Platt, I think he hit the nail on the head. I think McZat stayed a little bit too late, stayed a little bit too long inside House's base, and they didn't get proper reimbursement for that pressure.
When they dove, they did not take the trades that they needed to. Of course, hindsight's 2020. You know, we're casters. We're not even pro players. No one here's a pro, so
we
let's not
can
act like we're omnipotent.
And we can see the entire battlefield at all times.
Exactly. So it really is a tough call, but that's a mistake that so many players make. If you're watching this and you're kind of a new player, even kind of like myself, a mid-level one, learning when to dive and not dive is an art. I mean, I lost on this map because I dove when I shouldn't as well. So,
and it's just equally as possible to lose because you didn't dive in on your opponent when you should have.
Exactly, to finish him off. And against Hausa, it's so hard because they get so much benefit from having this trade line. But you know, finally, McCleaves is cleaning it up. So
might be
maybe
a little
should've
too
seen that
late.
earlier.
We'll see. It looks like
Wait, what are they doing down here? Are they just taking treasure guardians?
they're just taking treasure guardians. It looked like they were going for a raid, and got distracted by this. Reduces infantry cost by 5%.
Well, when in Rome, right?
Yeah.
Or when in Mongolia.
When in Mongolia, yes. Javelin Riders going up to deal with these raids. Looks like they're
those steps are
just gonna miss. Oh well, you got the line of sight up there, so these step riders are gonna go down very quickly. And this is a mass that this is going to be this is going to determine the fight right here.
France 1940, right past the Magnolia line. They just kind of flank and oof.
Right into the base, ignores everything.
But this is risky. You know, again, talking about diving, their reinforcements are going to be cut off, so they need to make some really good trades. But oh God, here we go. The Desert Archer. All you see is 10s.
Yep, blue 10s is. Oh no. Oh no. Against a massive, against a massive infantry, Chukonu, Ruskets. Those are Fulani mixed with a Khan. Actually.
Oof. Well,
this
I mean,
is
they're
this
fighting
is gonna be it.
But I don't know. Blue's mass is looking just fine.
Yep, we'll take a quick look at their ecos. 30 villagers, Russia on 53, China on 36. And Hausa on 31. So it's really up to Izat here. McCleaves, oh, that was the perfect time. Talk about when to dive. You dive when your opponent is aging. They can't make units.
2,000 resources, or no, 2,200 resources. Oh no, the town center he just placed. That was a bit of a
that's going to go down without a doubt to some Desert Archers. 2,200 resources invested.
He's got raiders all over him. Oh, this is just a wipe. China's eco is going to be idled here. Russia's losing precious houses, which they need all the pop space that they can.
Russia's got the eco behind this, but it's you know, it's just not enough. I don't think. McCleaves is down to 32 villagers. He's got units all over his base. These blockhouses are doing absolutely nothing to prevent the raids. I mean, that is the forward mass to get the initial raids, but you would think they could put a little bit of blockhouses in here maybe, and that's it. That is it. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Vindian with the upset. Team Gindian with the upset. I think Izat and McCleaves were heavy favorites going into the grand finals, especially after what happened in the quarters of this tournament against the same team. But I mean, make it a testament to preparation. Gindian, you know, they rode their Mexico fast revolt all the way to the finals. And then they did a completely different strategy for most of the rest of the grand finals.
Well, and something to point out too, I mean, these guys, they had to battle their way, like I said, from the losers bracket all the way back up to the finals. I mean, they played probably more games than anybody else did in this tournament, and the close ones. You know, they didn't sweep, I think, anybody.
No.
I think, you know, they had to fight. You know, they had several game 5s, and almost all of them were game 4s at least. So, you know, really kudos to them for coming back, making statements right off the bat, going up 2-0 in a series after, you know, being dominated before, jumping right back. Every time they lost, they popped right back into this game. And I think that's a testament to the tenacity, like the mindset, you know, and just to show you, like, I mean, in my opinion, Izat and McCleaves are technical better players. You know, if we were to play just mirrors all day, these guys would come out ahead. But, you know, earlier on we were casting, Buffalami had the saying like APM or IQ over APM. And that's what makes this game so exciting, right? Is because they outthought. They found combinations, they maximized them, they were efficient, they had strategies, they had preparation. And it showed, because we're looking at a 4-2 winner.
Yeah. And, yeah. Izat, again, makes nothing but Strelets. Maybe not nothing but Strelets, but a majority Strelets. And then the Desert Archers just don't die. And the Strelets and the entire infantry mass just gets absolutely melted.
Yes, I think a different unit comp would have been really important. But again, Vindian and Gideon improvised. These were the players that every game were coming up with something new, new strategies, new ways of going about a map, new ways of thinking about a map, stuff that uh, isn't necessarily intuitive. And even more importantly, when it counted, when they had the counter pick and everything, they stuck to things that they knew really well. And I think being a player, especially in Age of Empires 3, where there's a million different strategies, I think I jokingly, for those that don't know, I always mock how poor the ports are currently in the meta. And out of what 38,000 combinations of civs could be played throughout this best of 7. Um, but yet, at the end of the day,
No
you
one
got to
played
go with what
ports.
you know. Nobody played ports for the record. Actually, that's not true. I played ports and you beat me. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah,
Because I picked Spain.
yeah, and you just blew me down really fast. And then Marines killed me because that is the life of a Portugal main in 2022.
Yeah, Ports
Um,
was played once. Ports was played against same exact versus Team Swedes.
oh, really?
Yeah, on
Oh,
Patagonia.
that's right.
Yes.
That is true, and they also lost and looked clumsy.
That
But this is
yeah.
not a stream about my Portugal wishes and how the devs. Just saying, I'm sure there's some anniversaries of the Portuguese Empire coming up this summer.
No kidding.
Knights of the Mediterranean. What about Knights of Lisbon?
Congratulations to Vindian, to Gideon. Gideon is also in chat as well. Congratulations to both of you taking the 4-2 victory over, like we said, the arguably better mechanical team. So just walk us through a little bit of this game and how it played out on your end.
Oh man, well that was thank you for the congratulations, but this game was really tense. We knew they were going to rush us when they picked Mongolia without having one of their civs be a livestock booming kind of civ of some kind. In our minds, we knew that we had won in the past when I could be Ethiopia and be in the front position, but we realized if Vindy played Lakota, then he could just get run over. He doesn't have buildings to hide behind in his base to slow down the push, and so just in case we picked Ethiopia and Hausa because both of them have really strong early defenses. I always got my my two watchtowers outposts right at the beginning, and in this game I had to throw them up at the front of the Hausa base as part of the emergency response. But yeah,
Excellently defended, by the way. Excellently defended. And how big were those yaks? I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but you guys seemed to get from our perspective of the 16 yaks that we saw on the map, you guys gathered 14 of them. How big was that for you?
Wow. I didn't know that, but that was very it was very valuable, especially for Ethiopia. The Hausa, they get their free livestock with every card they ship. So Ethiopia, when they run out of livestock, that they gotta figure out some other way to get some, or their livestock market is just sitting there doing nothing. And so it's huge for Ethiopia, but of course both of us getting large amounts of extra influence in the early part of the game was extremely crucial. Vindy was able to get his levies out. He used his hut levies, which I'm still getting used to using those myself. They're so out of the way. You train them from your hut. It's just not intuitive, but I'll learn. But yeah, the livestock was very, very important. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you, when it's fully fattened, it doesn't give you as much value as if it was one of your own cows. But that's okay. It was still a lot of value, and I got a lot more dervishes than I would have otherwise.
Right, and free is always a great value.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Well,
Can't complain
to be fair,
at
though,
all.
I was gonna. Oh, sorry, I was
oh,
gonna
sorry.
add.
I was just gonna say they did treasures as well. I skipped treasures to get more livestock.
And that's what I was kind of saying. I think on this map, it's tempting because there's so many good treasures. Which speaking of, when you guys went around the blockhouse blockade, the Great Wall of Block, what was that, like an intentional move, or did you guys just go down, get those sweet treasures, and figured, hey, the door's open, let's go knock?
Oh no, that was we definitely wanted to attack the base. I saw a 5% discount. And I was like, hey, I'm all about discounts. I already got my 15% in from the cards, so I was attracted to it because I was going to.
Oh, on top of the 15%, like 5% on its own is not that fantastic, but when you tack it on top of 15% discount, that starts to look even juicier.
Yeah, and I knew I was only ever going to train infantry for pretty much. But no, that was actually, I don't know if it works where it's 5% after the discount, so it's like less value if you already have another discount. So maybe I should have let Vinny take it. But
I'm not sure.
That was I assumed there was going to be no wall in the way, so I struck out with the archers, and yeah, and we had just defeated them in a fight, so I thought that was a good timing before they came back.
You know, I think if they were to play this game again, I think after that initial rush, I think Izat probably should have gone up to age 3, because like Izat these last 2 games as Russia, I mean, he was able to make a huge mass, but it just melted immediately to Desert Archers. If you go age 3, you get your cannons, like what Dunami was saying earlier. You get your cannons age 3, and the fight comes a little bit more. You get upgraded units too. It's just better all around. But you guys capitalized on them not doing that, and more power to you. Congratulations again.
Sorry, you go, Vindian.
Yeah, just before that, right? Not just the 5% discount, we also picked up a 400 foot treasure, which is just before that 5%. Yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah.
So in the previous game we played, we had 2. Who are those Chinese archers?
The mercenary one.
Yeah, the mercenary ones.
Oh, Iron Troops.
Iron troops, yeah. Sometimes 2 iron troops would be there, and it's easier to get a treasure right there, right? 2 more units or 400 food is really good. So those kind of good treasures on the way, it kind of adds to your stockpile. So that was intentional. Of course, 5% I didn't go for it, and Gideon went for it, but 400 I just grabbed it.
Something I was going to ask you guys, like especially on this one, because again, this was like your comfort civ pick. You guys, Gideon just, Vindian kind of explained Han, like the philosophy going in of being like, we already, we got 2 games left. We can afford to lose this. They're going to counter pick us. Let's play stuff that we, are comfortable with.
And also we played to the map. If you look at the influence timeline, please go to the influence timeline. The only reason why we held was influence dancing there.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Wow.
Wow.
That is incredible.
It was four trade posts, and yeah, this is a good. I mean, we also felt proud because we used every trick in the book to hold that rush, as Gideon was mentioning earlier. So we need to get the trade post and switch all of them to influence. So all those spikes are those trade post coming in and giving you that influence.
That's
and then
where
I sold almost 10 or so cattle. I had to sell them for coin and convert coin to food because I can't gather anything, right? All my villagers were gathered up. So to make troops, when my villagers are all idle, I had to do several things at once. So that selling of cattle and then converting one resource to another and then using levy, and levy can't be levied if there are no houses. So those guys were seizing our houses and we built them behind us. And every single little small thing played into it. Or else we could not have hold it. The army was 5 minute 30 in our base, and I just aged, and I had to cancel a shipment to send these military shipments. And of course Gideon was right there, so I just need to hold until he showed up. That's all, right? Until the cavalry arrived, but it's not literal cavalry, but he
Well,
was
even
there and
The Shotel, the walking
Yeah.
cavalry. Yeah, the Shotels, that was a good good counter. And something too, like when we say like more technical, it's not that you guys are so far beyond the curve as to be like, flailing effortlessly. I mean, you guys had really good timings. I mean, like game sense. You guys didn't trickle units in. You guys fought mainly as a group together. You guys stuck together almost throughout the entire match. Was there any point? Because, like I said, I know it's a game-winning point. You've been on the back foot the whole time. At what point did you guys, if at all, were you guys like, I think we've got this?
Gideon's always saying in my ear, man, he was really good to play with. He would always say, okay, they are gonna, if you watch my stream, right, the exact words were, yeah, they are gonna fizzle out, but we are not. We are going strong. While I was under pressure, all my villagers were in my town center, and I was selling cattle for crazy. He would say they are gonna fizzle out, and we are going strong.
And
Those
sure
were
enough, that's exactly what happened. Wise words from from Gideon, indeed.
So
Well,
now that
thank
you
you.
can, yeah.
I'm humbled.
And really, like I said, I mean, now that there's all these like strategies that are out there, is there anything in this series that you wish you could have shown off? Because I mean, definitely you guys are the strategics. Was there any missed opportunities or any games, if you could go back, that just to show off a strategy or attempt a strategy that you didn't get to do?
Yes.
Are you going to elaborate?
Yeah. Yes. Vindy, I want Vindy to take this one first because he kept coming to me throughout the tournament being like, hey, there's this is a good combo that we have down. We can twist it a bit or pretty hard in this or that direction. One of the ones he was more public about was the economic Baja California, where you get your 16 villagers with your hacienda boom and stuff like that. But yeah. Anyway, Vindy, do you remember a couple of, like there was one we were talking about this morning, right? Can you remind me?
Yeah, I mean, I was running the numbers myself, right, after learning from him, but it was a bit slower. I mean, it was a late game twist because all the Mexico games that went late, we were running out of steam after 20th minute, right? So we thought if there is something that we could turn it around. But no, I don't think that would work in this fast-paced environment where troops are at your face in 5 minute 30.
Mm-hmm.
What I wanted to do more was maybe shift, break my army a bit more, like break up it and individually kill a bunch of villagers while the fight was going on. That we never could do that. All our troops were in one place. We won all the fights. But we couldn't do any economic damage. If you look at Izzat, all the games he played, he would go to 99 wills no matter what. You can't stop him from booming. And the hordes of infantry keep on coming, so it's pretty hard. The only thing that we told ourselves, okay, these guys are definitely better players than us. We can only beat them in strategy. So what's the good strategy here? So if there are 4 blockhouses, it's idiotic to run around and jump right on and fight underneath them for longer periods, right? Just avoid them. Who cares? And then it sums it all, right? The last thing where my troops were coming outside to, after doing the job, they are coming from back to front to those blockhouses. So that's the deal, right? So if you look at the view map and where all the troops are running behind, they did their job and coming back through the blockhouses after killing.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, then they're trickling through.
Yeah, so that sums it all. So it's
Actually,
a strategy win rather than APM win. These guys, our opponents are really stronger players than us. There is no denying that.
And something I was going to just say too, like, definitely the philosophies I think are different too. In Age of Empires 3, I'd say right now there's kind of 2 camps. There's like the old school, right?
Quick,
and then there's the young money.
To interrupt real quick, we do have a comment from AOE3GGs. This is the end of the tournament. This last game, that is why we're doing this postmortem as long as we are. This is the last game. Vindian and Gideon are the winners of the tournament. and we will be hosting another tournament soon. So there will be a link to our Discord in the description below, and where you can join our Discord and join the tournament. Pretty sure it's going to be another 2v2 tournament because that seems to be more entertaining for everybody involved.
I can rush with Kaida 1v1 and you can't stop me. The only thing that works. I don't have to be good if I can end the game before 7 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, that's true enough. That's true enough. Or, Strelet Rush, baby. Let's go.
Or remember our if we get teamed up, we should do our Strelet Insert Hente Toxic combo.
Oh my god.
Anyways, Vindy and Gideon, kind of just want a little bit of an insight. So, I'm kind of new to Age of Empires 3, although, played it off and on for fun for years. But there kind of seems to be two camps. There's like the old school and kind of like the new money, the new kids on the block strategies, right? And it seems like you guys really embrace the kind of newer mechanics, thinking outside the box. You guys aren't like locked into Skirm Goon, kiting back and forth. And both games mode are fun and exciting to watch and exciting to play. I think there's merit to both sides. Ideally, you have both, but just kind of curious, like, what are your guys' thoughts with like kind of the changes to Age of Empires 3, and if you think it's a positive step, and if there's anything you would like to see tweaked or changed in the future.
Yeah, if you ask me, it's definitely positive. Sorry, I'm going ahead, but yeah, you see, I would never be able to do that skirm back and forth kiting all day long kind of thing. But you see here, nobody would have. I mean, as a Hausa main, McLeaves knew the value of those trade posts. He was going there, but by the end of the game, I rebuilt all of them, whatever he took down. So this kind of bringing something else into the picture, right? How crucial a map is. So let's say if you are playing Portugal and you send that Age 2 card which upgrades them to free, right? That kind of a strat. You can't really take down a trade post right away. But here, back and forth, not just units, but also map control, etc. Say controlling the mines in the bottom, trade posts in the north, and contesting them, not just leaving them. Like the cattle, did the opponent get it? So we don't get it. It's not like that, right? We are fighting for every single resource on the map. So these kind of things are even more important than just having one kind of you either you win or lose. No, that's not. These new mechanisms, I welcome all of them. I mean, sometimes it might appear like some one unit is OP, but not really. How can one survive if all these villagers are still in the town center? As a noob, you would just lose the game if all your 13 villagers are tied up in the town center. But since there is a cattle mechanism and there is trade post, there is influence, only that could have turned the game, right? Because there are no minutemen, etc. There is levy and levy cost populations, things like that. So the new stuff definitely is enriching the game, if you ask me, and giving opportunities to players like I, who were not really good at the old game, but still enjoying the new game.
I agree with Vindy pretty much. I love the game, but a few key mechanics actually kind of still intimidate me to this day, like herding the hunts. Every strategy I used in this tournament avoided or minimized herding to the maximum extent, and of course the African civs, they get the granary, which lures the herds. I also like Japan because you don't have to hunt; all your food gathering is in one place, and so these things they do help me get into the game. Actually, I really didn't play until Baja California came, and I could focus on learning how to fight without managing a villager economy back at home. But now I can do that because it kind of was a set of training wheels pretty much, and there's a reason they nerfed it. After a while, I did get up to like 1600 only playing Baja California. Right now I'm 13 something, I don't know, but yeah, I do think some things need to be reined in a little bit, just to make it more like the rest of the game. Like the Desert Archers, they're good, but they kind of break the rules a bit. they cost, you know, about the same as a crossbowman, but they deal so much base damage for a skirmisher or archer type unit that they're good against other types of units as well, which is it's an outlier that I don't think needs to exist. I think they can touch up some things here and there, but I do love the new elements of the game, and I like the old. I do like the new cards as well that they're adding to those to just give more options to play the game. But at the end of the day, I'm a stickler. I'm into Skirmgoon and I'm into Muskhuss, and I did note every time we beat a team that used Muskgoon or Skirmhuss or Huskoon, I would be like, aha, they didn't do the thing. They didn't do the thing. So that was an interesting thing to note. But
Well, as a final note, we are preparing the next tournament. It will be underway relatively soon, probably within a month. So join the Discord, sign up for the tournament. Again, it'll probably be another team tournament. And one more congratulations to Gideon and Vindian earning the Jackie Moon semi-pro badge in our Discord server. And if you got this far, thanks for watching, and join me
One
for the
quick,
next one.
Thing, I just before we put out there, next time you guys are going to come up with Portugal strats for me, right?
Yes,
I already have it
absolutely.
ready to
Okay.
go.
Yeah, again, thank you all for playing. And, you know, I was going to put out there, too, to anyone else that's listening, like, we are not top-tier super pro players. We're definitely semi-pro ourselves. And so if you're someone that always wanted to kind of join in a competitive series just for fun, you know, there's no money on the line. You will, the worst thing that'll happen is Vindian's trash talk. But no, it's open, and the goal is to have as many people that, you know, it just want to play and have fun, and we're an open group of people. Like, I'm relatively new to the server myself. Bison Master and Buffalo Joe were the ones that invited me in, and it's been a really welcoming place. You know, we're just there to have fun, strategize, and you know, get really salty when we lose and blame everything but ourselves.
We hope to see you in the server, guys. You have a good rest of your